Now, how are you?
What's up, Philly? How you doing?
Oh, good. Listen. I love the evolution of Ava because when we first met her, we were like, we didn't know about her. Like, should she even be at that school? Forget the job at the school. And as the season have gone on, we are starting to understand why she is the way that she is. And
Mhm.
I told my husband, my theory is, I'm like, she seems like a North Philly girl. Because North Philly girls be like ready to fight, but it's usually because they have been through stuff and they don't have time to do the whole thing. Can you talk a little bit about this? Because I think, like, if you, she's on her own, she doesn't have family, and
Mhm.
everything she has in her life, she had to fight for. So
Correct.
that's why she has no patience for people like, bless Janine, but she's like, girl, they're my champagne problems.
Yes. I wouldn't call Janine's problem champagne problems because she's
Yeah.
pretty poor, but but yes, I understand. And I agree that yeah, because uh, at least how I've built her, and it seems like you have built her backstory that she had, grew up in the same environment of the school that she's going in, and she knows like nobody has time to play by the rules in order to get these things that this school and these kids need. So yeah, and that's a problem, a symptom of her upbringing. And so I think at the end of the day, whether you don't agree with her methods, she gets shit done. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And I also think their conflict is I didn't think she hates Janine, but she just wants Janine to get with the ish, to toughen up because
Sure.
she's like, if you don't start catching a clue, the world is going to continue running over. And her way of making fun of her, and it's kind of like, I'm trying to get you ready because clearly the world has not given you enough, armor for you to be. Talk about their relationship because I don't think she hates her. She just is like intolerant that Janine is not. How many years you've been at the school? And she's still like, you know,
Well, first I liken Ava and Janine's relationship to like a big sister, little sister type thing. I don't
that
believe
part.
she hates
Yes.
her. I don't think she hates her either. I think she finds her annoying, but she's not the only one who finds her annoying. People frequently forget that Barbara also thinks Janine is annoying, and so
Right?
just that Ava is more outright with it, with her annoyance. I do think me myself, Janelle James, I think she bullies Janine. She really is kind of mean to her. I don't know if I agree with that. And because she's essentially a bully, I don't know if that's the best way to get her ready for life. I don't, and I'm speaking
But
of
it
myself.
is Ava's way, though. I
It is
think it's just,
Ava's
yeah,
way.
yeah, it's
I
Ava.
don't.
It's not your way, but it's Ava's
Right,
way
but
of
that
like
doesn't mean
saying,
I agree with it, or
exactly.
that's the best way, and that is, I think that's part of Ava's. It's not necessarily for Janine's benefit. I think that's part of Ava's character in that she is a bully or funny in an attempt to cover for her own her own personal things. As we found out, her relationship with her family or how she grew up, and then Janine is annoying and optimistic as a cover for her background, which is her relationship with her mother and her long term relationship with a loser. Like so, it's everybody basically wearing their trauma on their face, and then hopefully as the show goes on, and it has been, people let their guard down and you become less like your bad traits. Is how I read the situation.
I agree 100%. I think you're amazing. I
Thank you
hope
so
you
much.
feel the love of the
I do.
show. And I say this as somebody that knows this neighborhood, Southwest Philadelphia, which is different than South Philly.
So
I
I
think
don't have any real
you
connection to Philly, but everyone tells me that I'm doing it perfectly. So I
Yeah, and
appreciate
I do.
that.
Like I really do. My friends and I always say, I was like, oh, Ava totally would be North Philly girl, like all day, every day, right? And I love how you put on for the city and for this community. So I really
I
appreciate
appreciate it.
that. And
Thank
best
you.
of luck with everything. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, Katya. Appreciate it. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Chris,
Katya, I love your background.
of course, we had to, Philly, Philly all day.
Finally,
Um,
she put me in the center there. I was like,
of
when are you
course.
going to tell people that who the show is really about?
I know, right? Let's talk about how Jacob has really evolved these last couple of seasons. When he first came in, he wanted to be, he wanted to save everyone and he wanted to be everyone's friend. But the beauty about the evolution of Jacob is that he realized that he's enough. He doesn't have to save everyone. He still has his quirky moments. He's still bestie with her, and him and Greg have become really close friends. But we've gotten to know him for him. Talk
Yeah.
about the beauty of that.
It's a beautiful thing. I mean, I'm so glad Quinta is sort of like has continually just impressed me, surprised me with how smart and funny and generous she is as a person and as a writer. And when she did that, sort of early on in the show, she kind of like let Jacob in on the joke that, everybody thinks he's corny and I think that just to me showed um her sophistication and talent for comedy writing. There's a lot of sitcoms that kind of leave people in that two-dimensional space, and um, I think letting Jacob know that he is sort of the butt of the joke just opens up a lot of doors for like where we could go from there. And it makes a subtler, kind of like more nuanced person, which in a mockumentary you kind of have to do. We're trying to make people believe that it's really happening somewhere. And so I'm so glad she did that. And yeah, Jacob has been able to win and lose and fall on his face and find love and grow. And that's, as an actor, that's what I'm trying to do. So it's been a blast.
One of my favorite episodes is when the dad came and complained that Jacob was teaching about Black history.
Yeah,
And oddly enough, this one here, Ava, came and stood with him, which I think he's a perfect example, although, he also he knows where he's at, right? He's like, I'm teaching at this school. He's fully aware. And his gift is that he's passionate. He's genuinely, yes. Sometimes they're a little bit over like Janine, that's why they're besties, but he genuinely cares. And I think what she does a beautiful job is showing that to do this job is to be of service. Talk about that because amidst all the laughter, and there's so much heartfelt moments, there's also this thing that to be a good teacher means to be of service to others, not to self.
totally. I mean, we really get a lot of mileage out of the character of Barbara Howard. I feel like really brings that point home. She's like a constant reminder for as much as the teachers kind of want to shoot for the moon or can get lost or bogged down by their own stuff. She always kind of brings us back down to earth in that way. And yeah, she couldn't be more right. I think like I think so much about this job has like surprised me and I'm continually having kind of like pinch me moments about it. But I really didn't expect to hear from so many teachers who feel like the show is representing them and is speaking to an authentic experience that they had or yeah, it's just like giving voice to a place and a profession that deserves it. Um, and Yeah, I think even as a comedy, it is still surprising to me how much heart the show can hold. Quinta would say every day that like first and foremost, this has got to be funny, and that is her number one priority. But yeah, even going back and watching it, which I do way later, I'm so moved by the fact that the show is able to hold both of those things. And I think if you're going to talk about this place and these people, you got to do both.
Absolutely. Well, as someone who has volunteered in the Philadelphia public school system and knows particularly this neighborhood because I lived in Southwest Philly for a long time, I think you do it's such a love letter to Philadelphia. And as a TU graduate, and she spoke at my daughter's commencement, so
Oh,
it
oh,
means a lot. And I think this show, again, you are a big part of that heart. And thank you so much for your time.
thank you for saying that. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.